Welcome back to another episode of Ballers, Beers, and Banter. I'm your host, Dave. Here with me, a couple of seasoned mockers, Anthony and Moose.
Hello.
What is up?
You gave a look, Anthony. Did you hear it? Did you mishear what I said? Mock drafters. Couple of experienced mock drafters. Okay.
I just like giving the eyebrows.
Okay, the old eyebrows. For those who are watching on YouTube, if you're listening, you don't get the eyebrow experience, nor do you get the I mean, we talked enough about the Canadians on the podcast, but I just want to rub it for good luck. I got to wear it the day before they play on the podcast.
Semifinals, baby.
It's good luck. Vegas. We're going to Vegas, baby. I mean, we're not actually going because the border's closed, but I would be there. I would be there right now in Vegas. Would you guys come with me?
Absolutely.
Sure.
Okay, Moose. We got our first sure of the podcast. Moose is a little tuckered out. He's a little tired.
I'm very tuckered out.
Why are you so tuckered out, Moose? You want to share with us and expand on that?
It's been a long weekend, some late nights.
The world's opening back up, and Moose is taking advantage.
No, I didn't do anything.
No,
I didn't go to any malls or anything like that.
Wait, so sorry. The most exciting thing you could think of for the world opening up is going to the mall?
Well,
the malls were open. It's nature
hasn't closed down. I went out to in the backyard, out at the parks and stuff. I mean, saying the world is opening back up suggests the restaurants and malls that were closed down.
Okay, all right. Well, you had a couple late nights. We'll say a couple late nights. Yeah, all right.
That's good. Took advantage.
Very excited for today's episode because we're going to be discussing our first mock draft of the season. But before we get there, we got to get into some headlines, guys. I'm gonna open my beer before we get there. If you guys want to, do you guys have your beers open?
Absolutely.
I'm pulling a Dave today, and I'm drinking carbonated water.
Well, you've been such a fearless warrior for us, drinking on Thursdays, even when I take the healthy route. So I'll, do you want me to drink two for you? This is my second beer of the night.
Sure, you can drink as many as you want for me.
Great, I might. All right, guys. In the news. I told you we can't get rid of Aaron Rodgers on our headlines, so we'll lead it off, get rid of Aaron Rodgers, and it's technically the news coming out from Packers CEO Mark Murphy, who invoked the late general manager Ted Thompson in calling Aaron Rodgers a complicated fella, which is something Ted Thompson used to say about certain players back in the day. I don't know what you guys take about this, but this is Murphy's, according to Pro Football Talk, this is Murphy's second recent cringeworthy remark about Rodgers. Last week, he said the QB's holdout has divided Green Bay's fan base. If Rodgers, a no-show at this month's Packers minicamp, doesn't come back for training camp, fantasy players should assume the Packers will begin the season with Jordan Love or Blake Bortles under center. Same as always, guys. Same. Anthony's... Are you laughing because Moose almost fell asleep during me reading that bit, or
no? It's
because
just
of Jordan Love.
Well, it's because Rodgers is ridiculous, and I mean, I'm happy if Jordan Love starts, but I mean, it's just I'm also smirking because Blake Bortles, this guy has played his way back into the league, and who would have thought on the Green Bay Packers? Any other terrible team could have picked him up at any time, but the Packers pick him up, and he could start.
You know what I think of when I hear Blake Bortles? You remember that Key and Peele speech, the substitute teacher? Key and Peele skit with the substitute teacher, and he pronounces all the names wrong. Yeah, Balake. And then the guy's like, it's Blake. Blake. Like, yeah. That's Blake Bortles in my eyes.
And then in that same skit, Aaron.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron. Exactly. All right, guys, tons of hype coming out of mini camps right now. It's hype season. Well, I guess hype season will culminate for actual training camp, but the mini camps, we get mini hype. But it's always funny when we get the reverse of hype coming from a coach, aka Mike Zimmer, head coach of the Minnesota Vikings, who came out and made a point to say Irv Smith would not have a bigger role in the team's offense this season. So there's a lot of people who are hyping Irv Smith. They might have to calm down.
I double checked that, and it said his role wouldn't expand. So
what's the difference there? Like, is that just
it's
semantics, or is it?
No, it's just gonna because it's just gonna stay the same. I don't know. I guess it is the same thing, but
it won't grow.
Yeah, it won't grow. I guess, but yeah.
To all the people who are like, I totally understand fantasy players out there who are looking for a tight end, a sleeper tight end somewhere, because if you don't get Kelsey, Kittle, or Waller, it's a steep drop off. There's a couple steep drop offs. So I get it that people are looking for that next possible gem. But Minnesota doesn't, I mean, they're going to throw the ball to Thielen and Jefferson and Dalvin Cook. Like that's their offense. Conklin and Irv Smith, I don't know. I don't think it's enough. I don't think there's enough volume there to sustain someone worthy starting week to week. So
I'm going to go out on the limb though, and say that if you are going to gamble on one of the two of them, gamble on Tyler Conklin.
Ooh. Or as you call him, Moose.
Oh yeah, Gronklin. I'm not. I didn't come up with that. I didn't come up with
I
that.
know.
But yeah, I think if you're going to take a flyer on one, I wouldn't draft either of them early. But in the late rounds, if you're looking for someone to take a flyer on, I would go Tyler Conklin.
Fair enough. I'm going after big name tight ends, but I get it. It.
The assumption is if you're going after these guys,
you missed out. You're one of the 9 guys in your league that missed out on the top 3.
Also, speaking of tight ends, real quick, because we brought up Blake Bortles. Should Blake?
Sorry, who did you bring up?
Blake Bortles.
No, I'm not getting it. Is that his name, or is it Blake? Come on, Moose.
Should Blake start? I think Robert Tonyan stock goes up quite a bit. Because Blake Bortles is he's the number 1 quarterback likely to check down.
To the tight end though, or to Aaron Jones?
Both.
Yeah, I really like Aaron Jones with
tight
or
end
without
in
Rodgers.
Jacksonville when he was there.
Tyler Eifert, was he there?
No.
He was Cincinnati at that point.
I'm too tired to remember, Anthony, but I'm sure there was.
No one great.
I don't think there's been a good tight end out of Jacksonville for a while.
Yeah. All right, I'll look it up.
Since Mercedes Lewis,
you guys
ages
continue
ago.
on. I'll look it up.
Mercedes Lewis was the last good Jacksonville tight end.
Yeah, I'm going to get into some mini camp hype now. Laviska Shenault. So Hayes Carlian reports Jacksonville coaches are buzzing over wide receiver Laviska Shenault. Let's see. It says this week said Shenault, John Shipley this week said Shenault staked a claim as the Jaguars' best skill player during OTAs. He has been that impressive. The second-year receiver looked explosive and dynamic as a route runner during Jacksonville practices. Blah, 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 blah. I don't think people who are already hyping Laviska Shenault didn't need to hear it twice. There's a lot of people who are really, someone's looking at here. The assumption is Trevor Lawrence is a god. He is the Jesus of Jacksonville. He's going to be amazing. And therefore, some of the target, there's going to be some 1, 2, 3 offensive weapons on Jacksonville that are going to be worth having. So people are trying to pick those because we really don't know. DJ Chark, Travis Etienne, James Robinson, Laviska Shenault, Marvin Jones. So I'm personally, I'm going to try and get someone from Jacksonville because somebody's going to, get to take a chance on someone. I like DJ Chark, but Laviska certainly could have good value.
So I looked it up. It was super quick. So I just checked the dates fast. It was Mercedes Lewis who was the tight end at the time.
It was?
Yeah.
But his numbers were more like around 8th, 10th.
Sorry, say that, Dave? You're both talking at the same time here.
Are you excited about Mercedes Lewis? Like, would you be happy with that? Or
back in the day?
In 2014?
Yeah. Mr. Tight End, Moose.
I have to go back and look at what the stats were in 2014. But I mean, if Blake Bortles is checking down to the tight end, why not?
Blake. All right.
Okay. Wait, I got it right here.
Oh, okay.
He is nowhere near the top. Jacksonville, 2 Washington tight ends make it in before he does. I have Clay Harbor from Jacksonville at 38th.
What year are you looking at? Can you
2014 he said no.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I don't see Mercedes Lewis anywhere here.
All right. Point being, yeah, we'll see. It's a totally different offense anyway, so we'll see. More minicamp hype, guys. Falcons head coach Arthur Smith, who was the offensive coordinator with the Tennessee Titans, said he envisions wide receiver Russell Gage playing multiple spots in 2021. So don't know what that means, but the Falcons, who recently lost Julio Jones, who is gone to the Titans, are now sitting with Calvin Ridley, Kyle Pitts, Mike Davis, and then you got to figure Russell Gage, next best option there. So if he's going to be used in multiple spots, that's pretty exciting. And we'll who snagged Russell Gage in our mock draft? Yes. We'll get into best team from our mock draft from the Ballers Beers Banter mock draft, but EEPST snagged Russell Gage in the second to last round of our draft. So probably a good pick there. Anything else on Gage, guys? No?
Nope.
Nothing? No? Okay. Well, moving right along, more minicamp. This isn't hype. This is Bengals coach Zach Taylor coming out and saying Joe Mixon will share third down snaps this season. And he went on to say, having Joe Mixon on the field makes us better. At the same time, you don't need him on the field for 75 snaps, Taylor said at Bengals OTAs. Since then, he moved on from Giovanni Bernard, but gave Samaje Perine a 2-year, $3.3 million extension this offseason. Blah, 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 blah. The other people on their roster are Travion Williams, Chris Evans, and Puka Williams. I didn't know Captain America was on their team, guys. Chris Evans? Did you... Or is that Hemsworth? Hemsworth? Pine? Evans. Chris Pratt? No, Chris Evans. Anyways, I don't know. Are you guys like Joe Mixon? Are you guys like on the train? Are you on the bandwagon for Joe Mixon?
Nope.
I'm not.
No?
And it's not Joe's fault. If Joe Mixon had a better front line, and it just, I don't know. But I wouldn't be upset. I wouldn't if he ended up on my team, I wouldn't be upset. But I'm not actively pursuing Joe Mixon.
I think anybody who had him previously in the past 2 seasons, like, is absolutely not drafting him. So he could fall. Like, to me, he's if he falls all the way to like the third round, that's pretty good value for, a guy who could put up big numbers. I mean, come on. But I agree with you. All right, Moose, you had a couple more headlines for us. Something out of the Detroit Lions camp and New York Giants.
Well, this is more of a headline to laugh about.
Okay.
TJ Hockenson could lead the Lions in receiving per beat writer. Someone should give that beat writer a huge pay raise. I mean, it's of course, he's the only receiver they have.
I guess.
So of course he's going to be the leading receiver.
Yeah. To be fair, they're probably talking about from an actual football perspective, not a fantasy. But us fantasy players know.
Even still, that's the most hilarious thing to say because he's their only receiver.
You mean Terrell Williams and Rashad Perriman aren't going to beat him out, Moose?
I mean, I don't think so.
Or Amon-Ra St. Brown?
He's a rookie, so we don't know what to expect. But I mean, it's just a little bit silly that your most veteran, receiver,
Amon-Ra St. Brown, who I will say EEPST, our man, also drafted with his last pick in our mock draft. So team looking good. He picked up Russell Gage.
It's a good last round flyer.
St. Brown. It's a very good last round flyer. We're gonna have to learn. I'm gonna have to learn these guys' names, their real names, because EEPST is just not gonna cut it. Or Eepst. Maybe I'll just do that. Eepst.
Who picked up Kadarius Toney? Because that's the next headline.
Well, our man Sanchi, a little easier to pronounce. Sanchi picked him up in the last round. Kadarius Toney
picked him up in the last round. Well, it's unfortunate because he has not been having a very good start to the OTAs.
Tell us.
He's I think he had some minor injury. He had some issues with his cleats. And he's only been...
Oh no, like Antonio Brown cleat issues?
Who knows?
Did he have a helmet issue? Did he freeze his feet?
And he's
what was that?
Well, I was waiting for you to finish your Antonio Brown bit.
Unimpressed.
Continue.
And so he's only been practicing with the second team at OTA. So a bit of a slow start for him.
I mean, there's 100 receivers over there, so
that's the other thing too. Is if you're missing time over there, even though the veterans, are a little lackluster, they'll take his spot.
Plus, the Giants' second team's got to be just terrible. Any New York second team.
Their second team is the Jets.
But I mean, we talked about this before, that I think the Giants panic picked Toney because they wanted a high. They wanted who did Philly take again? His name is
Devonta Smith.
Devonta Smith. They wanted Devonta Smith.
They jumped ahead of the Giants to get Devonta Smith. Yeah.
Right, exactly. And the Giants were hoping to get him. They didn't. And then I had said in a previous podcast that they should have taken another position, but they stuck with wide receiver. And then now they have a guy that's proving to be an issue.
But I think,
Well,
an issue. He spent 5 minutes with the team. Like, I think we've been blessed with these wide receivers that have come out and made immediate impacts on teams.
Yeah.
But give the guy a break. I'm sure he's going to be successful, but you just got off to a rough start. It happens.
Does happen. That we're not all Justin Jeffersons. Can't all be JJs. All right, guys. I think that wraps up our headlines. You guys ready to talk mock draft?
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So we had our first Ballers, Beers, and Banter mock draft with recruited some guys from a league that I've joined. My main man, Gus Bus, was not in on this mock draft, but Gus Bus, hopefully he's listening, is an absolute machine with these mock drafts. He has just recruited so many hardcore, I would say hardcore, legit veteran fantasy football players, and he runs 8 mocks a day. And these guys are all on there, man. They're grinding. They're getting ready for fantasy season. So these guys know what they're doing. It's always fun to do a mock draft with people who are experienced. And if you're mocking in, we started doing this in May. If you're mocking in May, you're into it. You're into fantasy football. You're into it. So I want to start off. So we decided, guys, to do this style where we do the mock before and then we do the podcast and talk about it, rather than we found, we've all listened to podcasts where you're trying to follow a mock draft on the podcast list and just you have no idea what's going on. What round is it? Who's taken? Who's on the board? And it's nice to get a little bit of the, thinking out loud from some experts, but it's pretty boring and it's pretty crappy. So we did the mock, it's done. And we're just going to talk about some stuff. And first off, what I want from you guys is, who's your favorite team, excluding your own team, obviously, who's your favorite team from amongst the ones we drafted? Anthony, we'll start with you. Who gets the award for you?
It would be Eepst,
Eepst, our man,
6th. So for compared to my style of drafting, he did start running back heavy. Took 2 running backs off the bat, Taylor and Gibson, and then he went receiver heavy. So then he went with Waller. So clearly listens to us with the tight end, early tight end, get a top tier tight end.
Got a good one.
You got Waller, who's, we said Kelsey, Kittle, and Waller are the top tier guys. And then he went Godwin, DJ Moore, Tyler Lockett. So those are 3 studs in my opinion, but we've spoken previously about guys like Tyler Lockett, DJ Moore that could be boom or bust. But I have made the case that I have had teams last year with Tyler Lockett as my second or third receiver or flex spot guy, and I've made it to the playoffs. So I mean, you just hope a guy like DJ Moore and Tyler Lockett, if Tyler Lockett is in your flex spot, that they both don't have their off games on the same week. So
yeah, and Chris Godwin, we forget he was wide receiver number 2 on the year 2 years ago, right? Dealt with some injuries last year, broken finger.
Right.
Was on and off the field. He could be very good this year.
Yeah. And then he went Ronald Jones, which I'm not. His team kind of drops off as far as running backs.
I mean, in the 7th round, it's not so bad.
Yeah, it's not so bad, but you don't know who's going to be the guy over there. And then, so just to skip ahead a few spots, then he has Tony Pollard and JD McKissick.
I thought I was supposed to be the tired one.
Yeah, well, apparently I might be a little tired
You're all
too.
over the place here.
So those are 2 guys, Pollard and McKissick, that, you guys have spoken about Ezekiel Elliott maybe falling off a lot earlier than most people think. So Pollard is a great backup, or handcuff rather, if you do draft Ezekiel Elliott in your leagues. JD McKissick with Antonio Gibson with his plate in his foot or for his foot. And
he has Antonio Gibson. So
exactly. So that's a perfect example as a handcuff.
Yeah.
But I think his skill position for his team are the wide receivers. So Godwin, Moore, Lockett. Then he has Shenault, Laviska Shenault, who we just spoke about before,
Yeah.
and Russell Gage and Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yeah.
So the rookie could be the number one in Detroit. Gage, with Julio Jones out, has a bigger role now this year, and he was a great waiver wire pickup.
Yeah.
And Viska could be the guy over there.
3 potential out of those 3. Maybe someone emerges as wide receiver 2, wide receiver 1, even. It'll get crazy.
Yeah,
and he got Tom Brady.
Tom Brady.
The
3 of us said none of us would rather. None of us would want to draft him, because if this is the year he falls off, it kind of ruins your whole season. But I don't think he will. I don't want him on my team, but this guy got him super late, so can't go wrong with Brady if he's last year Brady.
Like, I'm coming around to Brady. Like, if you're going to wait on QB, we'll get into strategy later, but we do like waiting on QB in general, most of us, except Moose. Tom Brady in the 10th round is fantastic, right? Yep. Like, they're the Super Bowl winning team. They're the best team in football. They brought everybody back.
Whoa. I don't know if they're the best team in football.
They're the defending champions, so they're the best team in football. And they brought every single player back on their starting roster. Yeah. Everyone on the offense is back. Plus, they got some depth pieces. Tom Brady's in good shape. Just put it that way. Maybe
healthy Godwin.
Yeah, maybe another quarterback would do even better on that team. Like if you put Mahomes on that roster, like see you later. But yeah, that's a pretty good roster, right? All right, Moose. So Eepst wins the or EEPS. I got to learn these guys' real names. We got to get on there, guys, and learn their names. But he wins the award for Anthony for favorite team. Moose, who do you got?
I have Sinker DFS as my winner. So my whole thing is you got to lock in the points, and he definitely locked in the points in his early rounds.
What do you mean by lock in the points? Can you just explain that to our listeners?
It means acquire the most points you can.
Okay. Amongst all positions, right?
Yeah, or just in general.
Okay.
So he has Dalvin Cook, Calvin Ridley, Michael Thomas, Kenny Golladay right off the bat in the first 4 rounds. So you can start all those guys and you're gonna get a stack of points every week.
Yeah.
He goes on to this is where things get a little bit weaker, but not even really. Mike Davis, Juju Smith-Schuster. So both are still going to get probably decent amount of points week to week that you can safely. It's safe to say
Juju is your 4th receiver. Yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah, so super safe. Gambles a little bit with Kyle Pitts, but the odds look pretty good that he's going to be, a top tight end option. So, and you got him late in the 7th round.
7.2. I circled that because in most mocks, Kyle Pitts has been going earlier, sometimes even before Mark Andrews or TJ Hockenson. In this one, he fell all the way to 7th. I think you got to take him in the 7th. Why not?
Yeah. So even in this, we're halfway through the draft year, and he's still pulling in substantial amount of points with his players. And then here's where it drops off, but not even really that much, because he gets Kenyon Drake, who's going to be sharing a backfield with Josh Jacobs. And already there's a lot of debate, which one's going to get a bigger workload. So by all means, Kenyon Drake could be getting, 10 to 15 points a game or more.
Doubt it.
But he could be.
And okay, we'll get to you, Anthony. We'll get to you.
Trey Sermon, he's a rookie. He's probably going to have a big role in the backfield. There's already headlines about him, shining at OTAs. We got Phillip Lindsay, who we've seen what his production is. Who knows what it'll be in Houston?
Could be the starting running back of the Houston Texans.
He is the youngest and most healthiest running back of the options. That you would assume out of
the youngest
Mark
him,
Ingram,
David Johnson,
David Johnson, whoever else they picked up in the last few weeks. Then Joe Burrow as his quarterback, super late, which I don't think is terrible at all. Joe Burrow got off to a really good start last season, getting about 17, 20 points a game. And then, of course, he had season-ending injury. So I think this year, now he'll have an off season with his team, which he didn't have last year. So I think it's safe to assume that he will, if anything, do the same as last season or better. So I think that's a great pickup late. And then Irv Smith, we spoke about it earlier. Late round flyer. Who knows?
Late round flyer.
Late round flyer, Irv Smith.
He still took him. He's like, screw you, Mike Zimmer. I'm taking him anyways.
That's it. And then the pièce de résistance, Gabe Davis in the last round. Well done. Gabe Davis, although Emmanuel Sanders is there, should still have a downfield role. And my big thing is, of course, now I've only remembered how many touchdowns he got called back. And I think he got 7 touchdowns on the year. Four were called back, not because of him. So, if Gabe Davis, second year comes out, they start using him again as a downfield threat. I think that's an amazing late round pickup.
Awesome. Oh, great breakdown, Moose. Hopefully Sinker DFS is loving that. I like both those teams. Eepst's team really jumped out to me as well. I love that, but I'm going to go another direction. I'm going to just mention 2 here. I really like Big Lou. 3-2-2-3. My man Big Lou's team. Love it. Got Derrick Henry, got Keenan Allen. Love those guys. Jalen Hurts in the 8th round. Love it. He snagged Michael Carter while everyone was sleeping in the 9th. He got some flyers like Paris Campbell, Jalen Reagor. Love that team. But I'm just going to talk about Sanchi's team. Sanchi picking in the 7th spot, which is a very awkward spot this year.
Hold on. Did you just like dupe someone and say their team and they'll be like, but that's not who I'm picking?
Yeah, Dave is always like trying to please everyone. When we had the thumbs up or thumbs down, Dave just did this.
No, to be fair, I did it first. I did the halfway thumb first, but
right.
I wanted to get Big Lou a shout out, but it's easier. It's easier to draft.
Listening. He's super pumped. He's like, "Yeah, Dave picked me." He's like, "Nah, just kidding, Big Lou. I'm going to the next
team.
guy."
I love it. I love Chase Claypool.
I want to shout out 3 other teams and some late picks that they have.
Yeah. Listen, I would like Big Lou, if you're listening, I like his team. I'm a big Jalen Hurts guy. You guys aren't, but it's easier to draft from the 3rd spot. I just wanted to point out the 7th spot is very difficult to draft from this year. But I thought Sanchi's team. He went kind of all risk. He went high risk, high reward. But listen, if you don't risk it, you don't get the biscuit. So here's
Dave. I just while you're actually going to pick your championship team, I'm putting in an order for participation trophies.
Thank you. Please do.
We can send out to everyone.
Yeah. All right. Appreciate it. So Sanchi here got Saquon Barkley fell to him. That's a no-brainer for the 7th pick overall. Love it. His other running backs are Eckler and DeAndre Swift. And then Leonard Fournette, he got way out in the 8th round. So I think he's pretty stacked there at running back. Now, here's where the risk factor comes. I mean, Barkley's a risk already because of the injuries. Eckler is a risk because he only had that really one great year we talked about. DeAndre Swift is a little bit risky but in the 3rd round because of all the news of the Detroit Lions. Here's where we get risky. Julio Jones as his top wide receiver. We talked enough. Please go listen to all our Julio Jones episodes. Talked a lot about Julio. But he could be a wide receiver 1. Brandon Ayuk, great rookie season, but with Debo and Kittle coming back healthy, a little bit risky. Will Fuller in the 7th round. We all know the risk there. Is he healthy? Is he on performance-enhancing drugs?
And he's missing the first 3 or 4 games.
So wait, is this? Are you picking this as your best team? Because you don't sound thrilled about it.
It's one of my favorite teams. You got to risk it if you want the biscuit. He went all in. Here's what I really like about the team. Okay. I also want to mention Antonio Brown. He got Antonio Brown in the 9th, which is people are forgetting about Antonio Brown, but you want a piece of that Tampa offense. He got Fournette and Antonio Brown. Here's what I love. Lamar Jackson in the 6th round as the 8th quarterback off the board or something. Lamar Jackson could easily be the number 1 quarterback in the league. So to wait a little bit on Lamar and get Lamar in the 6th round, love it.
So what I'm understanding,
just shush. It's not your turn yet. And then I love. He waited on tight end. He picked 2. I think this is smart. He got Mike Gesicki and got Adam Troutman. Adam Troutman could be one of the next really good tight ends in the league because there's no one to throw the ball to for the Saints. There's Michael Thomas and then who? Deontay Harris?
No, they have Traquan Smith and Deontay Harris.
Yeah,
Deontay
exactly.
Harris.
So Adam Troutman could be
both
big.
Did really well last season with Michael Thomas out.
Yeah, they did okay. And I love his Darnell Mooney pick as well. Picked up Mooney, which I know you like, Anthony. So I just wanted to Sanchi. He's all in. Like if his team, if it hits, it's
every analysis you gave except for Troutman was they could.
Could hit big. You got to risk it if you want the biscuit. Listen, I
don't think so. I know those words rhyme, but I don't think you need to risk it for the biscuit. you
So-
can
so
very definitely safely
for me-
win your way to a championship.
So I want to comment on him, but could I jump and speak about my team because I need to compare the two. Is it okay if I jump to it? You're the
Let's
host,
get into
so
it.
I mean,
So,
yeah.
well, I want to preface this. So,
Yeah.
everyone listening, we want to talk about draft strategy today. So, in terms of risky picks, we'll get into that. But we want to talk about draft strategy. So, the three of us were in this mock draft. Anthony was going specifically running back heavy, which he went with 4 running backs in a row to super stack the position. I went 0 running back approach. And we randomized the order. I ended up with at the turn 12th pick overall, which is maybe the only place this year, or one of the only places I think you could pull off the 0 RB. I still hate it. I still don't really like it.
I love drafting at the 12th position. And
I like the 12th position. I don't like 0 RB.
Oh, yeah.
Strategy.
And just for our new listeners, the turn is either the 1st or the 12th position.
Thank you, Moose. Good call. Or the 4th card in Texas Hold'em. And then Moose was wild card. Moose was just doing his own thing, kind of feeling it out. He's tired, so he was just doing his own thing.
Accidentally went on auto pick in the late draft. In the late draft, I fell asleep. And
Devin Singletary. Moose didn't even realize it was his turn, which happens in drafts, guys. Don't let this happen to you. And he picked Devin Singletary by accident.
I wasn't upset about it.
All right, Anthony, talk to us then. Talk to us.
All right. So with my running back heavy, I went 4 running backs in the first 4 rounds. I went Alvin Kamara at the 5th spot. I was the 5th pick. And remember, this is half point PPR in a 12-team league. So I went Alvin Kamara, Najee Harris for my 2nd running back, Josh Jacobs as my 3rd, Kareem Hunt as my 4th.
Whew.
Now, I know a lot of people were like, oh, Kenyon Drake's going to take away from Josh Jacobs. This guy is a top 12 guy. He's secured his position. Kenyon Drake is a journeyman. He goes to different teams and he just can never find his way to be the number 1 guy. I know he was that guy for Miami for a little bit, but Miami is always switching,
And, well, for the Cardinals, he was the guy for the Cardinals.
Yeah, he was okay. He did okay, but
I
don't think
he was the number 1 guy.
Yeah,
there.
okay, sorry. So he was the number 1 guy there. But Jacobs, there's nothing, there's not even talk that's come out of camp that, like what we're hearing about mini camps, anything about Kenyon Drake. So I'm perfectly happy with Josh Jacobs as my 3rd running back, and Kareem Hunt found his way into the I'm not sure the exact spot he finished. Dave, if you can drum that up while
Kareem Hunt was about 10th. Off the top of my head, he was 10th in half point PPR last year.
Okay, and that's perfect as my 4th. If Chubb gets injured, he's the number 1 guy. Even with Chubb there, he is still very productive.
Actually, Anthony, I believe you have the number 1 running back from last year, Alvin Kamara.
Yeah.
You have the number 8 running back in Josh Jacobs, and then number 10 with Kareem Hunt, and then Najee Harris, who projects to be potentially an RB1 this year as well. So, based off last year, it's looking pretty good.
Yeah. And I know Dave wrote down a few. I talked up Eapst. He sniped Gibson from me. I wanted
he
Gibson.
double sniped you. He sniped you on Gibson, and I wrote down Waller.
Maybe we should just call him Double E.
I like Eapst. I can't wait to find out his real name. All these guys.
No. He didn't snipe me for Waller because I picked before him. I took Jacobs.
Well, then what do I have written down here? What do I have written down?
It was Samuel that was.
I was thinking of taking Waller, and then he took him.
Oh, yes, it was Moose. He sniped Moose on Waller. Thank you, Moose.
Yeah. So I went those guys, and then my first wide receiver taken was Adam Thielen, who finished in round 5, who finished 8th in 2020 in half point PPR. 2019, he was injured for most of the season, so didn't rank in the top. 2018, finished 7th. 2017, finished 10th. So he's my number 1 guy, a super safe play. He's Cousins' safety blanket. We know Jefferson is there, but
hold on. I don't know if he's safe. He's very touchdown dependent.
Well, I would say 3, and
he's great for the 5th round.
The year before was injured. So, I mean, always in the top 10. I mean, that's pretty safe.
Yeah, but before Jefferson. Now we got Justin Jefferson in the ballgame.
Yeah, but don't forget Diggs was there too. And it was quite harmonious.
That's true.
And that's what I was just going to say, that both can eat. Then I went with Courtland Sutton, a guy who was wide receiver 2-esque ranked last year, but then, of course, had the injury preseason. I went with Robbie Anderson next, who was top heavy on the season, the lead guy over there until he kind of dropped off. But Curtis Samuel is gone. So hopefully he can be more consistent towards the end of the season. Then I went Noah Fant, Matthew Stafford, Jarvis Landry, Tariq Cohen, Corey Davis, Emmanuel Sanders. So I got a ton of receivers to cover if Sutton, doesn't have a good bounce back season, or if Robbie Anderson drops off. I got a guy like Landry who's super safe. I got Corey Davis who could potentially be the number one over there, but he's usually hit or miss. As we've seen
Corey
on previous
Davis in the
seasons.
12th is good. Is very. I mean, that's come on. He's the number one guy there. I mean, maybe Zach Wilson sucks. We don't know, but
what is if you're the number one on the Jets? Like, are you really?
I know. But
are you really a number one?
Right, you're right. So you're like a number 2, but they're still decent in the 12th round.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And then my flyer on Emmanuel Sanders. I mean, we saw John Brown and Cole Beasley and Gabe Davis play well together and be great fantasy options. Emmanuel Sanders is there. John Brown is gone. Cole Beasley's old.
I don't even think Cole Beasley's in the picture anymore.
John Brown's not. Cole Beasley's still on the team though.
No, but I'm saying like Cole Beasley takes a backseat to Emmanuel Sanders, Gabe Davis now.
Yeah, I would say so.
From maybe, but from a
that's why
if you're actually
Sanders.
coaching, if you like that, if the offensive coordinator on the Buffalo Bills, probably not. He's probably still gonna be your reliable third down, need a first down on 3rd and 6 kind of guy, So
maybe.
Anyways,
so now with going running back heavy, like I know Najee Harris might be like, will he actually be good? I mean, he's on Pittsburgh that loves to run the ball. Yes. Nobody's really going to take his job. I'm not worried about Benny Snell or Anthony McFarland. And then to compare to Sanchi, who is, I think, the only other team that went first 3 rounds running backs.
Yeah.
He went Barkley, Eckler, Swift. So the whole point of taking running backs is to have safety blankets because they get injured often, and to have a sure thing to control that spot. With Barkley, who has injury issues, Eckler, like we said, only 1 year, and then Swift, who we don't even know what's going on in Detroit right now, where they said they'll just go with a hot hand week to week. So to me, okay, good job. You went running back heavy, but I think you're kind of in the same boat as some of these other teams that maybe went 2 running backs. Like, for example, Big Lou, who was at the 3rd pick, Big Lou 3-2-2-3, went Derrick Henry, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, then went
stacked.
4
and
receivers, and then
receivers,
AJ Dillon, Michael Carter, who is going to be the number 1 on the Jets. I know it's the Jets, but if the passing game doesn't work, he's
Big
good.
Lou's team's really good.
So
maybe you should have just.
I mean, I like him.
team.
I'm just giving some shout outs.
Wasn't risky enough. Big Lou, you didn't. Wasn't risky enough.
No, his team's like. Yeah, pretty.
So
safe.
advice to Sanchi, like if you're gonna go risky with your running backs, don't go risky with all your other spots, because we said Lamar Jackson, we don't know what he's gonna do in the pass game. Yes, very efficient in the run game, and that's where he gets his points. But if the passing game stays the same, he's not a top tier quarterback. So taking him in the 6th round might be a little high when all your other players are risky. The receiver, same thing. Fuller, risky. Fournette, risky because we don't know who the guy is there. Ayuk, like Dave said, has Debo and Kittle coming back. Julio Jones takes a step back. He's not the number 1. Or he is. Your team has so many question marks. So don't go risky for your entire team.
It's a good point. But
your team could hit. Like Dave said, it could hit.
Well. It could hit well. Barkley, and you got to take Saquon in the 7th overall pick.
I would have taken Jones over him.
Oh, you would take Aaron Jones over Saquon Barkley?
Yeah.
Wow. Moose?
Especially if Rodgers is going to be out. I mean,
I really like Aaron Jones.
Yeah. He's elite.
All right.
And Saquon, back-to-back seasons with disastrous leg injuries.
Well, no. He had a high ankle sprain. Last year, knee surgery. Yes, bad. MetLife Stadium, terrible. The season before, a high ankle sprain, which was supposed to put him out for like 8 weeks, came back after like 3 because he's a physical specimen. He's in another category of athlete. He'll be okay with the way they do surgery today. He'll be fine.
I'd be thrilled if healing got me fantasy points, but it doesn't.
Well, you've never drafted Wolverine, then I guess.
Well, yeah, I guess.
Joke's on you.
So to be honest, I'd be happy with either one.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about your team next, Moose, before you fall asleep, or
I don't think we talk about my team because I wasn't really doing a strategy.
you're
So
like a wild card? Okay, so Anthony went running back heavy. Now to talk about that, just draft strategy, guys. The running back heavy approach, which is taking 2 or 3, or in this case, Anthony took 4 running backs in a row. You don't have to go 4, but taking running backs with your first 2, 3 picks, etc. The theory behind it, the philosophy behind it, is that running back is the most injured position and also the most important position in fantasy football. So the idea is to stack your running back position so you have great top end and depth at that position. And because you're more likely to get to hit on a wide receiver, a QB, a tight end, I don't know, but
Right,
wide receiver, a QB later.
Yeah, it's a deeper position. Like, look,
Yeah.
Thielen in that round. And I mean, I was sniped. We mentioned that Debo Samuel was sniped from me, and I had to take Anderson. If the guy took Anderson before me and I had Debo Samuel, potentially second receiving option, but the number 1 wide receiver in the team, in my opinion. Big guy like AJ Brown and DK Metcalf. So that would be a solid 3rd wide receiver too. But I'm not upset with Anderson either. So wide receiver is very deep. So you can wait.
Deeper. So that's the idea on running back, on running back heavy approach. The opposite of running back heavy approach is the 0 running back approach, where you don't take any running backs because you just reverse logic that and say, well, if running backs all get injured, why would I waste the top pick on Saquon Barkley or Christian McCaffrey? Just have them get injured for the whole year. I'll take someone who's less likely to get injured, and then I'll just get a bunch of backup running backs later on who, if there's injuries, will turn into starting running backs. So the 0 running back approach is don't take any running backs, fill up your wide receivers, your tight ends, maybe even your QB, your flex spot, then go for some running backs. So I didn't take a running back with the first 5 picks. My team looks great until you get to the running backs. Here's the thing. I'm a little uncomfortable with my best running back being Javonte Williams, a rookie for the Denver Broncos, who may or may not usurp Melvin Gordon or might be in a timeshare. And then my running backs are Zach Moss, James Conner, Darrell Henderson, Kenneth Gainwell, another rookie. So not great. I don't have a stud. So I'm very weak at running back. That's what happens when you go 0 running back. I'm hoping for betting on one like James Conner to take over the backfield or something.
Well,
but Moose likes James Conner. The flip side is I'm pretty stacked elsewhere. So I got Patrick Mahomes as my quarterback, throwing to Travis Kelce as my tight end. And then my receivers are Devontae Adams, CeeDee Lamb, DJ Chark, who I love as the pick on Jacksonville. And then I got Jalen Waddle and Henry Ruggs, a rookie and a second-year guy who could break out big time. I took Tannehill as a backup with the last pick because I found it offensive that he was not taken in this mock draft, and Tannehill is going to be a top 12, top 10 QB. So I picked him in case Mahomes gets hurt. So stacked at the tight end position. Travis Kelce's a league winner. Devontae Adams, as long as Rodgers is there, league winner. CeeDee Lamb's going to be great. DJ Chark going to be great. But running back, very, very weak. So I don't know, guys. I think the 12th spot in a 12-team draft is the place to do 0 RB, but it's especially in this draft with guys who know what they're doing, like Big Lou and Sanchi and Eapston, Rooster Booster, and who else did we like? And
in my opinion,
DFS.
It's the best place to draft from in general.
You love the turn, Amos, because you just get both your picks, boom, boom. And you know what? You can't, if you're drafting at the turn, which is the 12th or the first spot in a 12-team league, you have to take your guys. You can't risk this player might be available when it comes back around, especially not when you're drafting with experienced people. Take your guys, because the chances are they won't be back around when you come back. Anyways, so would I do 0 running back? I don't like it. I don't have the cojones to do it. I think in our main league, anyways, maybe in another league I might try it, but do it at your own risk. Do it in your own risk. But you have to be really sharp with these deep running backs. Like I probably should have went Michael Carter at one point. When did he go?
He went to 9-3.
Yeah. So I think honestly, I should have went Michael Carter instead of James Conner, I think.
No, I would have said maybe
Zach
Moss.
Michael Carter, instead of maybe Zach Moss.
Yeah. I mean, Zach Moss is starting running back for Buffalo. I don't think
this is true, but I don't think Buffalo is going to be running it all that much.
Yeah. Is Josh Allen the starting running back for the Buffalo Bills?
Yeah. No, I just think that it's going to be a super pass heavy team.
Yeah. So those are 2 different draft strategies you can employ: the running back heavy or the 0 RB.
Yeah.
and the other thing for our listeners is you don't have to go in with you don't have to be married to a strategy and say this is the way I'm drafting. First of all, once you know what position you are in your league, that helps, and go mock a ton. Get on with these guys. Get on with Big Lou and Sanchi and these boys, and do some mock drafting, because that'll really help. But you want to be just prepared for anything, because you never know what's going to happen in your draft. So don't be married to a strategy.
But I think your team could have looked a tad bit better, because like the way I looked running back heavy was the first 4 picks. I asked you during the draft, I was like, oh, you took a wide receiver for your 5th pick.
Yeah.
I said you could have had a running back again. So you could have had James Robinson and Javonte Williams, which still, we don't know what's happening with Travis Etienne being over there, but with the production and the results that you got from James Robinson last year, I mean, James Robinson, Javonte Williams, it's still sketchy, but it's safer than Zach Moss, maybe.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. I would like that better. Yeah. I really wanted to exaggerate the point. So right. I wanted to fill receiver and the flex, the quote unquote flex spot, just to show people.
But it was super thin. Yeah.
Or, you don't take Mahomes. You don't have to take Mahomes there, right? So you could take so I picked Patrick Mahomes in the 3rd round, start of the 3rd round. You could take a wide receiver there, and then wait on QB. Like Ryan Tannehill could be my starting QB. I took him in the 12th round, or the 13th round, last pick. So I could have taken CeeDee Lamb, someone else, and then I could have really had some running backs, maybe like I could have get Travis Etienne or Chris Carson or. So I just wanted to exaggerate the point. You're right. Zero running back could be pulled off a little bit better than that, but All right. Well, 2 different draft strategies, guys. Love doing this mock. Now we're gonna get after it again. If you listeners found this to be helpful at all, even though we're ranting all over the place and talking over each other about different players, we're gonna go with 2 other strategies that we're gonna talk about, which is waiting on QB and tight end. So anything else could happen, but specifically waiting for QB and tight end, or ensuring that you get a top QB and tight end. And we're gonna do the old QB and tight ends next, and that'll be fun. Anything else on these draft strategies, guys? 0 RB heavy?
No, I have nothing else.
Is there anything that stands out to you this year compared to previous seasons? Moose is 3-time champion in our most competitive home league. Anything that stands out to you this year in particular? Like, should you especially go running back heavy this year, or
Yeah. If anything, lean more towards being running back heavy. Okay. I wouldn't go 0 running back.
You don't need to go 4 in a row, but
honestly, I don't believe in 0 running back at all, ever. But definitely,
I want to know if anyone's pulled it off. I want to. Tell me. I want people, listeners out there, if you pulled off 0 RB in the past, let us know.
Like, I mean, who else? Like, there was no 0 RB, but the Dante 3000 went 2 wide receivers with Hopkins and Diggs. Went Sanders, who we're not very high on. Then he went Cooper. No. So
you know what? Like, he essentially went. Dante 3000 was on auto pick for Diggs, so we'll give him the benefit of the doubt. But Hopkins and Diggs are great. But yeah, Miles Sanders is your RB1, and then Raheem Mostert, who gets injured, Deontay Johnson, who gets injured. He essentially went 0 RB. He went super 0 RB.
or sinker DFS. Like he took 1 solid running back, then went 3 receivers, got Mike Davis, who was a starter on his team, and I mean, it dropped off, but a guy like Sermon can hit. So I mean, you just, and he's close to the turn. So
actually,
that's a good spot
when you
to
are
do
that early. So you obviously take, pretty much everyone takes a stud running back with one of those top picks. I actually like that strategy that he employed, because he just got 3 great receivers in Ridley, Thomas, and Galladay right there, right? So yeah. I like that. And Mike Davis, starting running back for the Falcons. Come on.
Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, Dalvin Cook he scores enough points for 2 running backs. So
there you go.
Yeah,
wouldn't even worry about it.
Yeah, pretty good. All right, guys. So I think that wraps it up for the draft stuff. Just want to say thanks to all the guys who participated in our mock draft today. And a shout out to Gus Bus, our fearless mock draft leader, who couldn't make it to the draft, but he'll be in the next one.
Yeah, and reach out to us for any further questions you might have.
Please do. You can reach us on at 3bfantasypod@gmail.com, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. And we are on YouTube now. You can see our beautiful faces and beards. Anthony, you ready for the next segment?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, it's time for They Said It on Reddit. I thought I nailed that one.
Yeah, that was a little bit
That
of
was
an
pretty
echo.
good.
There was a little bit of like a little echo going on. It was
okay. The acoustics
sounded good.
Different acoustics. All right. Cool.
So this one's coming from user TGRZLAC. Waller or Allen and Goddard? So this is a dynasty trade question, 1 QB league. Currently, he has Waller and Gesicki as his tight ends. Wide receivers are Amari Cooper, DJ Moore, Adam Thielen, Michael Gallup, Darnell Mooney, Mims, and Gabe Davis. He just wrote Davis. I'm assuming it's Gabe Davis. I don't think the value is bad. I just don't think I need the help at wide receiver as much as I'd like to keep a top tier tight end. So it's either he trades Waller for Keenan Allen and Goddard, or he keeps Waller.
Okay. Say his wide receivers again.
Amari Cooper, DJ Moore, Adam Thielen, Michael Gallup, Darnell Mooney, Mims, and Gabe Davis. So remember, it's dynasty. So,
right. So he
his
has
young guys are Moore, Gallup, Mooney, Mims, and Gabe Davis. Cooper and Thielen are
but they're
they're
still
his
good
oldest
enough.
ones. Yeah.
Cooper,
So,
Thielen, and he had one more. DJ Moore.
This is a super easy answer to this. How many of those wide receivers are like good wide receivers, would you say?
3. To me, I counted 3 solid wide receivers. Could be wide receiver 1 or wide receiver 2 in Cooper, DJ Moore, and who's the third one?
Thielen.
And then 4 very good prospects in Davis,
Mooney.
Gallup, Mooney, and Mims. I like those as prospects.
So right there, there's already, and that's just what's floating around on his team. There's only 3 top tight ends.
Yeah.
Why would you ever give one of them up?
Yeah.
You hold the most desired resource in fantasy football. Why would you ever give it away?
Right.
You know, especially when you're just going to get like wide receivers who are a little bit better. You know, like there's no tight ends that really compete with the top 3.
Yeah.
Whereas with the wide receivers, there's tons of wide receivers that compete at different levels that you can get. So I would not give up.
You trade for. I love Keenan Allen, and with Justin Herbert, I think Keenan Allen's going to destroy. But you get Keenan Allen, maybe he's good 1 year, and then maybe falls to wide receiver 2, and then here's Darren Waller just destroying it. And if it's especially if it's PPR, half PPR and PPR, Darren Waller sometimes he gets 20 targets. There's the big game where he gets 20 targets. He'll win you your week. And it's just, you're right, Moose. The difference in tight end is so valuable. So I would keep Waller. I would say, if you're really keen to I don't know, I wouldn't trade him. But at least Keenan Allen and Dallas Goedert, it's not enough. It's not enough.
Yeah. If you really want to make a trade and you want to give up Waller, go for a top tier, a top young guy. But I, like Moose said, you gotta control that position.
There's honestly,
you have a top tier guy.
There's nothing that is worth having Kelsey, Kittle, or Darren Waller. Honestly, you would have to give up the house because no other players even come close to them. So to have that on your team is,
especially if I had Travis Kelce, or even Darren Waller, if I have already won the championship and I'm like, sweet, I won a championship. I would give me 4 first-round picks for Darren Waller, or something great, go crazy. But even then, no, just keep him. And here's the important piece. I think this listener is thinking Mike Gesicki could be good enough at tight end. Okay, here I got Keenan Allen, now I'm stacked, and Gesicki could hold the fort. Listen, you don't want to be crossing your fingers that a tight end's going to hold the fort, especially in Dynasty. AKA me, who traded only a 2nd-round pick and Benny Snell to acquire Hayden Hurst last year because I was very high on Hayden Hurst, and I didn't have a tight end. I needed someone. He was tight end 9 on the year, but it's still not good enough. So, no, keep Darren Waller. That's it.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Bottom line, boom. And Mike, I don't know. I like Mike Gesicki, but
is this backup? It's a good backup.
Plus, Miami drafted a tight end. Right?
I don't know.
They drafted somebody.
I don't draft anyone from Miami, so I'm not really aware of
Miami in the real NFL draft. I'm pretty sure Miami drafted a tight end. So, who people are pretty high on. Not Hunter Long. Hunter Long? That was Chargers. I'd have to we'll look into it. We'll tell you next episode. Or someone just Google it real quick right now. Guys, today, Anthony, you Google while I talk about my beer. I finally finished off the pod pack. The Vancouver Island, all proceeds going to save the salmon, which and then save the orcas and the killer whales in our beautiful Pacific Northwest. And this one is, I saved it for last because it was the least enticing, but a Solstice Plum and Rosemary Saison. And it's not so bad as far as Saisons go. I'm not a big Saison guy. I'm like an all year round kind of guy. But it's not bad. 4.2%, a little light. There's a bit of plum. I could taste the plum. I could feel it down in my plums. You ever see that Will Ferrell?
Yeah, it's from Eastbound and Down.
Eastbound and Down. I can feel it down in my plums. I can't believe if man, I don't know how those guys keep a straight face during those. They must do like 40 takes. They do like 40 takes because it's hilarious.
It's one long continuous take, and then they just edit out the parts where they're not laughing.
Oh man, Moose was obviously having soda water.
Yeah,
today.
I was. It was delicious. It was
you were tired.
It was a saison lime saison. It's just a lime carbonated water or whatever Anthony calls it.
Yeah. Anthony, did you find the Miami Dolphins draft pick? Tight end. All you had to type in was Dolphins draft. That's really all you had to do.
Yeah. Well, I just typed in that, and then they were giving me olds, but it was Hunter Long.
It was Hunter Long. Okay. So who went to the Chargers? Oh, I was thinking of Darnell Parham, that guy. All right, Hunter Long, Miami. Okay,
I'm drinking.
What do you got? Mickey
Ultra.
Mickey Ultra Light.
Yeah, it was a big drinking weekend, so I need something a little lighter today.
Yeah, it was big for both you guys. Wow.
Yeah.
Moose just keeps typing funny things in the chat. Guys, words of wisdom, and we love to chat about what shows people are watching and stuff. I started watching Sweet Tooth on Netflix. It's a Netflix original show. I saw the trailer and I was like, this looks cool. It does not disappoint. I'm halfway through the season. I love it. It kind of reminds me like a really good late children's book or adolescent book, but yet it's serious. You know, and it has that feel to it. So I think people of all ages could really enjoy it. Very, very well done. And there's one of the main guys, this big dude who in the show is a former football player, which is pretty cool. And he's awesome. I think he was in Game of Thrones for a bit. You'll recognize him. Moose, you'll recognize him for sure.
Okay.
Sweet Tooth. Check it out. Anything else? Words of wisdom?
I'm saving mine for next episode because I'm exhausted.
Okay. Well, we got to get Moose to bed. Thanks for listening to this mock draft episode, guys. Hope you learned something. Can't wait for football season. As always, thanks for listening. See you next time.
Ciao.